Alexandra Victoria was born on May 24th, 1890. No, 1819. Her father was Prince Edward, and her mother, actually, yeah, it's a female, was Princess Victoria. She was originally named Victoria Georgina Alexandria Charlotte Augusta, but for obvious reasons, it was shortened to Alexandra Victoria. Her childhood was boring, and her parents were overprotective. Her parents invented and used the Kensington whatever system, which was endorsed by Sir John Conroy, a very evil man that is a very mean person that was specifically mean to Alexandra Victoria. So the law or document, the system stated that Victoria was never allowed to either leave from her mother, her tutor, or her governess. She was always kept isolated from other children. Her mother monitored and recorded every single action she did, and she was entirely controlled by her mother that wouldn't allow her to see people that her mother didn't want her to see. So it's basically modern life, but it's a bit enforced, and there's no windows you can climb out of, or anything like that. So actually, speaking of windows and climbing, uh, she was never, she always had to like sleep with her mother. But don't worry, it was in a separate bed. It was just in the same room, so there's no creepiness there. So when William the IV, which I think means fourth, died, Victoria would be the next queen. But William was a king, not a queen. So Victoria would be the queen, not whatever. And for some reason, her mother and other devious people made her look weak, and that was just some sort of weird plan that I couldn't wrap my head around. So Victoria grew to hate him over this like new system where people were stalking her and saying that I'm stalking you and stuff like that. But she had two requests that she were allowed an hour just by herself, which was really struck me suspicious of something suspicious, and that her bed should be removed from her mother's room. And yeah, so when Victoria became queen at the age of 18, her relationship with her mother just wasn't really good, as you might say. It was horrible. It was it was some word that doesn't exist. Bad. It's that bad. It doesn't exist because it's so bad. And so yeah, the rest of their lives just cold hate, and they barely see each other now. But but big booty butt on June 20th, 1837, King William the IV died, making Victoria the new queen. Or not, or like I said before, just the queen, not the band, but queen. But actually, another big butt, two big butts. Her title was in effect until May 20th, 1837. Alright, so at the start of her little, like, ruling or reign, as some smart people might call it, Victoria was really, like, popular. All the cool kids would sit with her and stupid crap like that. But her reputation got bad after she dated a guy. No, she didn't date a guy. Her reputation suffered in 1839 when one of her mother's ladies in waiting, Lady Flora Hastings, a flower, what am I saying? Developed an abdominal growth that was like rumored to be on just a messed up pregnancy, just a pregnancy gone weird. And that rumor was invented by evil man Sir John Conroy. Conroy. So Victoria actually believed these rumors. She hated Conroy, but from the very start, she even hated him more. So okay, so this guy named Melbourne suggested that to get away from her mother because of this whole like Kensington system, he's like suggested that they should get married, and this was like an alternative, a shocking one, and she actually agreed to do that, and he was like, ha ha ha, she's gonna be my bride now. Well, I don't know if he actually said that, but that's what I would say if I tricked someone into doing that. But then she actually loved Melbourne, and she actually had like true affection, as some people might call it, and and they actually planned on getting married, and the marriage took place on February 10th, 1840, in the chapel of St James Palace in London. So during the first few months of marriage, Queen Victoria, was pregnant, and actually, and to ruin this good news, I guess, a man that was 18 years old named Edward Oxford attempted to actually assassinate her, like on the way to visit her mother. So her day could not get any worse. And Oxford was a horrible gunman. He fired 2 rounds, but they both missed. And he was sent to jail for like really high treason and found guilty. But he used the whole insanity plea, and this actually helped Victoria's popularity for some reason. Because oh my God, she almost got assassinated. I'm so popular, or she's so popular. It's something like that. So if you want to get popular, ladies, just hire up some sort of fake assassination, and and you'll be popular. Her first baby was born on November of 21st, 1840. The queen like just hated being pregnant, and she also hated newborn babies. She didn't eat them, so that's I guess a positive. She hated like breastfeeding, and oh, I swore I better bleep that out. So she hated breastfeeding, and she thought newborn babies were ugly, like I said. But actually, she and Albert had like 8 children. And the creepy thing about this is that Albert was her like first cousin. So all of you just say you right now. Okay, you probably didn't do that. Just some smart Alec probably said that, but whatever. There was also another assassination attempt on May 29th, 1842. Queen Victoria was riding a carriage in London when a man named John Francis aimed a pistol at her but did not fire. But yeah, that's all I could find. He just did not fire for some reason and just let her live. I don't know why, but I don't have time to look it up. But anyways, the following day, Queen Victoria drove the same route, but she drove faster, but with like better bodyguards, and to prevent John Francis from actually killing her. And as expected, Francis shot at her, but he was seized by just policemen, regular policemen, and was convicted of again high treason. But 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 there was another guy named John William Bean. Like all the Johns here are probably evil. He also fired a pistol at the Queen, but it was loaded with only like just paper and tobacco, which was pretty weird because I was saying something about popularity and stuff. So, big conspiracy right there. But he was for like just faking it. He was sentenced to like 18 months in jail, and like the whole crime thing there is just crap. Like if like if you did that in real life, you would go like probably like I don't know more than 18 months. I don't know a whole lot about law. And also again in 1849, William Hamilton also fired a pistol at Victoria's carriage as it passed along Constitution Hill in London. And there's nothing more about that. So, also in 1850, another assassinated attempt. The Queen actually did get hurt in this and was assaulted by an ex army officer by the name of Robert Pate. As she was riding in the carriage, Pate struck her with his cane, crushing her bonnet and bruising her face. She was probably like on the old man's lawn. He was like, "Get off my lawn!" And that's my old man impression with a high pitched thing. And he was sentenced to 7 years in prison. Or in, yeah. Just 7 years prison. In 1845, there was this great famine called the Potato Famine in Ireland. And Victoria was named the Famine Queen because she donated over 2,000 euros to just the relief groups of that. And that was a lot of money back then. And that was like the highest donor there. In March, the month of March, in 1861, Victoria's mother died. While she was dying, Victoria was at her side, reading through her mother's diary and papers. Victoria discovered at the last minute that her mother loved her deeply. She was very, very heartbroken and blamed Conroy, the evil Conroy, and some guy named Lezen for just like making them hate her mother, which doesn't really make sense. But Conroy is evil, so he could probably do anything because he's so evil and get away with it. But not this time. Queen Victoria brought them to justice by saying that, but they didn't go to jail or anything. She was just mad at them. But it's better than nothing. By the beginning of December, Victoria's husband, Albert, was very sick. He was diagnosed by a thing called typhoid fever, which is caused like by poor hygiene and sanitation. So, like back then, everything was just filled with germs, and nobody gave a curse about germs because they didn't really know what a germ was. They would probably call like someone annoying a germ. Like some people in this class are germs. They're very annoying. But sadly, Albert died from that disease, and when he died, all Prince Victoria wore was black. Just black, nothing else. Not even just a hint of any rainbow colors. She wasn't optimistic. She was just everything was just black. That's all she wore was black. In Christmas of 1900, at the Osborne House in the Isle of Wight, she was diagnosed with rheumatism, and her legs rendered her weak. Her eyesight was just poor because of the cataracts. And through early January, she felt extremely weak and unwell. And through mid January, she was drowsy, dazed, and confused. But then, sadly, she died on the 22nd of January at the age of an impressive 81. Her son, King Edward the VII, which is 7th, and Kaiser Wilhelm II of Germany was at her side when she died. Her funeral was held on the 2nd of February, which was surprisingly late, at St. George Chapel in Windsor Castle.